Hello, this is attempt two. Hopefully, a slightly more successful attempt this time. Let's move this down ever so slightly. There we go. Hopefully, a slightly more successful attempt this time. I have, I think, managed to get the live stream working so that I should be able to get videos through, questions through YouTube and also questions Seesaw. So hopefully you are at home ready. I've got a whole 3 people watching. This is big news. I managed to get up to 12 earlier, so I might give it a couple of minutes just while we wait for it to. Oh, I've only got 1 watching now. This is embarrassing. I know Mr. Perkins is watching in school. He's always my biggest fan. So let's see. Oh, I've got 11. Oh, I've got some questions. This is great news. I'm just going to give it a minute. I'm down to 1 person watching again. Embarrassing. Right. It's a mess. All right. Please, thank you. Maybe the first one, I had 15 people watching, and let me leave comments. So Matt and I came up with a plan to redo it in 15 minutes time. Okay, I'll just type 1 person. Anyway. Right, let's see. Oh, 3 people. Now that we're up to 3 people, let's see if we should get going with this. Yeah, right. Start with the kidnapper, I think. Let's start with the kidnapper. Lots for the boy and the boy's mum. Some for the ambassador. Interesting questions. Okay, we've actually got no questions for the kidnapper at all, which is interesting, very interesting. But and we will go to live to Cindy, the girl. So let's welcome Cindy in. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining my interview today. Thank you. I will now take up to 5 questions. Please put them in the live chat if you would like to, or post them on Seesaw. Get them that way. Now let's have a look. I would like to ask the girl, what were you doing for somebody to kidnap you? Now, that's a very good question. Now, when your father is an ambassador, you are always on somebody's hit list. They wanted money out of and my father refused to give them the money that they wanted. So these evil men that deserve to go to prison kidnapped and kept me in the attic. Now, luckily, it was only for a day, so it was not very long, but it was traumatic nonetheless. Next question. Now, that's a very good question. It says, did they know who kidnapped you and did they catch you? Thank you, Lewis, for your question. They do have a suspicion who it was that kidnapped me. They obviously found the man in the house. That was a given. But I don't think he was. They are still yet to find the main person to kidnap me. They do have their suspicions, but they think they are hiding out in another country. And so, as yet, they are yet to find him. It's very deeply traumatic for me. But I believe that they will come to justice one day. The question of how old I am, now a little rude, but I'll answer it anyway. I am 12 years old, and this shouldn't happen to a 12-year-old, not in a safe country like the UK. Why was I kidnapped? We already know that. It was all thanks to my father. He refused to pay the money. And how long was I stuck in there for? As I said, it was luckily only a day. But Isla, thank you for the questions. Why didn't I get help sooner? A very good question, Isla. I would have loved to have got help sooner, but I was stuck there. The door was locked. The only thing I could do was flash the lights on and off, 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 in the hope to get someone's attention out on the street. But it was a lonely street. Not many people there. I tried my hardest, but alas, looking down. What more could I do? That's what I'd ask. Here's the next question. Mr. Perkins is live. Mr. Perkins, you're live on YouTube.
Are you? Where's the video? Because you've got a lot of people commenting on one video saying,
"Oh, this is a disaster from start to finish." Right. You'd like me to post the link again on Seesaw? Yes. But I've got 6 people now. No. What? I've got Lewis writing to me saying, yeah. All right. Yeah. If I could find the link, then I would. I'll do it now. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Bye. Okay. We'll be a couple of minutes, and hopefully everyone else will join us, meaning that we will just restart the interview. I think I should try things out before just saying I'll do them myself, Mr. Denton. Right. I tell you what, we'll let Mr. Perkins click through onto that, and hopefully some more people in a minute. Let's have a look. Oh, there we go. Someone saying, "Oh, Sarah, I know I'm very late. I can only apologise." B again. Oh, Mr. Perkins has made it. Amelia, you've made it. Thank you. Well done. Okay. Right. Give me 2, and we will start once people migrate over to the right video. If you want to start posting your questions down on the live chat, then that's the easiest way for me to see it. If not, then it takes me a little minute to flip through all of the questions. So if you want to start posting them on live chat, that would be amazing. Hello, welcome. I will try again for what is now the third time, but you know, who cares? We're here, we've made it. This is the official interview. We are going to interview three people today. The first person we're going to interview is the kidnapper. I've got one question so far for them, but if you want to start popping your questions down for the kidnapper now on the live stream, I can see them. The second person we are going to interview is the girl, although some of you I think have just seen that, but there we go. And the third person we're going to interview is the boy who rescued them, the hero of the story, really. Hopefully this is just a bit of fun, but I thought it was an interesting way to try and delve into a bit more. So I will go and get the kidnapper, and if you want to start putting your questions down on the live stream, that would be amazing. If not, send them through on Seesaw. I will try and see them, but it does flick through on Seesaw. So yeah, let me go get the kidnapper, and we'll see what questions you have. Hello, I'm the kidnapper and I have no regrets. First question I have, what was I planning on doing with the money? Now, I kidnapped this girl for one reason. My boss, he needed some money. She was a very important lady, so we kidnapped her. We need a new house, I'll be honest. What can I do? We need to eat. We thought if we got $500,000, that would set us up for a couple of years. Excellent news. So that's what I wanted to do with the money. I wanted to buy a house. I wanted to go out and eat every night. Forget the cooking, forget the cleaning. Excellent, living the dream. I would ask the boy. Why did I decide to kidnap the girl? Well, Amelia, we've just been through this, but we decided to kidnap the girl to get some money. Mr. Bell, exactly the same. We wanted the money. That's all we were interested in it for. We didn't want to hurt the girl. We didn't want to keep the girl. We wanted money to get gone. We were going to live in Spain, probably. Cheap houses, lovely food. Excellent. No, it doesn't seem questions for me, so I'm going to go get the girl and see what she has to say for herself. My name's Cindy. I'm a 12-year-old girl who early yesterday morning was kidnapped by a vicious. I'm here to answer the questions, but also I want to appeal to find the main kidnapper. As I said, I'm a 12-year-old girl just out for a walk, and then before I knew it, I was pulled into a house and looked at it. Sophie Dimmons asked who was coming up the stairs. Now, I don't know for certain, but I think my kidnappers must have heard the absolute hero that rescued me. They must have come in to see whether they could, but luckily he was quick as a flash and managed to hide behind the crates. I did see one saying, how old were the crates? Now, I can't comment. Idea how old the crates were, and really, it doesn't really matter. The biggest thing was that they were there to rescue me in my hour of need. were they allowed to be there? Now, I don't know whether the kidnappers were allowed to be there or not. I assume they didn't own the house, as we know, waiting for demolition for months. But they could have bought it, ready to kidnap me, but I don't think so. I think they must have broken in, which would be another charge for them when they're arrested and brought to justice. Uh, Amelia's asking, do they have a criminal record or have the police ever caught them? Now, the one man they have managed to catch, I believe, has got a criminal record. But what does that matter? He was allowed out, free to roam the streets. I can't believe it. It was just such a traumatic experience for me. Sophie Dimmon's asking, how expensive am I? Well, I believe they were asking for $500,000. I think that's quite a lot of money. But then, I am only 12. Uh, my dad said that he would have paid the world for me. Why were I walking alone? Now, that is a very good question. I was simply on my way to school. Normally, I would go with my friends, but decided I needed to go to the shop first to buy my lunch. And so I was just on my way down, just past the fish and chip shop. There's a shop called Dot. And that shop, I was going to buy my meal deal. But before I could get there, a man came out from that house, grabbed my arm, and pulled me straight in. What's my net worth? Well, my net worth, Sarah, is actually nothing. My father is the one that told me. Cindy, did they catch who kidnapped you? Thank you, Lewis. Thank you for your question and your concern. Now, I believe that one of the men, the man that was inside the house, but he was not acting alone. And therefore, today's news appeal is for the public information to come forward and help catch the disgusting people behind this crime. Am I the first person they've kidnapped? I don't know. I don't know whether I was the first. Who knows what they've done before? These monsters. I can't comment on whether they've kidnapped somebody before or not. We don't know. But they were doing. They were very skilled and organised. And they had everything planned out. So if they hadn't, they were clearly very intelligent men. Sarah says, I should have gone with my dog and mum. I'm not here for your advice, Sarah. I'm here for your question. Help find the people that have kidnapped me. Mr. Perkins, how long were you kidnapped for from Lincoln? Well, I was kidnapped for about just over 24 hours. Luckily, the boy found me within the day, but it could have gone on for weeks. My father, although he would have paid the world for me, was advised not to pay the criminals, and the police were looking into it. However, we were relying on them to find us, find me, and it was taking them too long. I'm just ever so grateful for the man, the boy who found me after 24 hours. I'm not sure how long I could have survived. Do I have any friends? I have lots of friends. I'm very popular, but they didn't want to come to the shop with me. They wanted to go straight to their lessons. Why did it take two people to kidnap me? I don't know. That's just how many people decided to be in on the plan. Did anybody hear my scream? No, it's a very quiet street. If you remember, it was a house that was ready for demolition. I don't think many people would pay attention to it, and that's why I went unnoticed. Okay, I don't have an awful lot to say apart from, did they treat you well? They didn't hurt me. I have to say they did not hurt me. They locked me in the rooms and they left me there. I had a cup of water and some bread. Apart from that, nothing. I mean, apart from when they shone the torch in, when they thought they heard the boy, they didn't hurt me. Now, we're going to hear from the hero of the whole story. Hello. I'm not used to such big crowds or anything. I'm a normal boy from a normal background, and now my face is all over the papers and the main news. So thanks for being here, I guess. But honestly, I'm not a hero. Now, I would take some questions. No, so not Superman. I'm just an ordinary boy from an ordinary background who happened to be in the right place at the right time, I guess. My camera is shaking. Yes, I know I had to plug the laptop in. Why did you come into the old house? Well, my parents brought me up to help people that are in need. And I was on my way to the fish and chip shop. My mum was, and I forgot my phone. So I saw this girl and she looked terrified. I thought to myself, well, I can't just leave her there. She might be in danger. So I climbed up to the top room, thinking I'd put the question if she needed any help or whether she was just playing. But she was shaking and she was so pale. So I slowly crept inside. I guess that's how it happened. I never meant to go inside. I wasn't meaning to be a hero. It just kind of happened before I got to think about what was going on. Why did you go and save her in the first place if it was dangerous? I guess at the time, in the moment, you don't really think about how dangerous it could be. You don't consider ramifications of your action, the consequences that might happen. And it all worked out for the best, but I know it was dangerous to find help. But I can't now. I can't change them. Did you ever consider not going in the house when you saw Cindy at the window? Well, at first, as I said, I'd just be playing or joking. But then I remembered the house was meant to be demolished. Nobody was meant to be in there. I thought I would just go up and check, ask her why she was in there. And then it quickly became apparent she genuinely did need some. By the time I was in there and thinking I should have called my mum, it was too late, really. Sarah, you don't seem convinced with my story. Did you ever get the fish and chips in the end? Now that is a very good question. Mum, he was confused at first, and then we obviously had the whole thing with the police and then the press. And it was nearly midnight and kind of too late to eat, and the fish and chip shop was shut. But I am hopeful that when all of this blows over, we might find fish and chips we were after. How did you feel when you jumped out of the window? Well, that was maybe the scariest part, Lily. By the time I was worried in the house, it was almost too late. So jumping, I really don't like heights, and jumping out the window was frankly terrifying. But lots of soft leaves, and the girl gave me a bit of a push because I think she was in a bit of a hurry to get out. What did you do with your mum gave you? Well, as soon as I got back without the fish and chips, mum kind of knew that I hadn't spent it. So we're saving it ready for when we can have fish and chips after this whole thing blows over. Were you hurt when you jumped out the window? Luckily, I wasn't. We kind of shivered the drain pipe for the first bit before just falling, and we both got away without injury, which the police said was incredible, and that we were a bit foolish, really. How long were you stuck in the house for, from Isla? I believe the girl was in there for just over a day, as we said a minute ago, and that she was fed and water. Somebody asked if there was any jam, but I didn't see any jam around, just the crumbs of the bread. How did you feel when you go? Well, at first, Isla, I was really worried for her. My heart was pounding out of my chest, and I didn't know why she was there or how we could help. And then when the man came up, that was more terrifying. But eventually, I managed to take control of my nerves, and now I just feel sorry for her. She didn't ask me the situation. She didn't go out to do this, and yet she has ended up in such a terrible situation. So at the moment, I'm sorry for her, but at the time, I was worried and concerned for both me and her. How old am I? A very good question. We actually would be in the same year, apart from the fact the girl goes to a posh school. So I am also 12. Where was my mum from Lincoln? My mum was at home until we arrived home and the police, but she was waiting at home for her fish and chips because it was part of me growing up was starting to take some responsibility and the house for myself. But now I think mum won't trust me as much because clearly there are some not very nice people around. Right, I think. Thanks, Sophie. I think that is the end of my prep. I will just go and get Mr. Denton back before ending the live video. Oh, hi! Thanks so much for joining us. I hope you had a good time. It was good fun being all the different characters, and hopefully that has broken up your morning a bit. I've really enjoyed some of the comments coming down. The lazy woman one cracked me up. From Sophie about the mum. Amelia saying hi to Isla. So Sarah's just general commentary on what on earth was happening. Thanks for joining me, you 12 people. Woo! I will be Joe Wicks in no time. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see my cast later on Seesaw, and the rest of you hopefully sometime soon. Mr. Perkins, so a true hero. Sarah, you did not have to wake up early to watch this. 10 o'clock is not early. In fact, it was 10:15 when it started. Early. Come off of it. Okay, I was. Wait. Why am I waiting, Sarah? Oh, this better be good. The whole class is waiting for you. I wake up at 12 o'clock. Excellent. Okay, well, there we have it. Sarah wakes up at 12 o'clock, everybody, and she woke up a whole 2 hours early to come to this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys later.